Hi, welcome back to Geometry. This is section 6.4, Properties of Rhombus, Rectangle, and Squares. The objective is to define and classify special types of parallelograms, to use properties of diagonals, of rhombus, and rectangles. It's essential to your understanding that you realize special parallelograms have all of the properties of parallelograms and basic properties unique to them regarding their sides, angles, and diagonals that help to specifically identify them. A rhombus is a parallelogram with four congruent sides. It kind of looks like a square that's been pushed over a little bit, like when you're doing the recycling. A rectangle is a parallelogram with four right angles. A square is the superpower of all parallelograms. It's a parallelogram with four congruent sides and four congruent angles. They're all right angles. Because 360 divided by 4 is always 90. So we've studied quadrilaterals and parallelograms. More specifically now, we're talking about rectangle, rhombus, and square. Rectangle and rhombus are different shapes. However, they share properties when they are a square. So rectangle is four congruent angles. Rhombus is four congruent sides. Square is both of these. Theorem 6.13. If a parallelogram is a rhombus, then its diagonals are perpendicular. So if it's a rhombus, not only do the diagonals bisect because it's a parallelogram, but these ones form a 90-degree angle. Theorem 6.14. If a parallelogram is a rhombus, then each diagonal bisects a pair of opposite angles. So the diagonals are not only perpendicular, but they also bisect the opposite angles. Bisect, you'll remember, means to cut them into two congruent angles. And because it's a parallelogram, you know opposite angles are congruent. So given one angle measure, we could find all of the angle measures of a rhombus. Because we also know that consecutive angles are supplementary, which is true of all parallelograms. Theorem 6.15. If a parallelogram is a rectangle, then its diagonals are congruent. So we already know that a rectangle is a parallelogram, so this means that the diagonals bisect, but if it's a rectangle, then you know the diagonals are congruent to each other as well.